Hello, this is Brendan Wilmington of the Left Turn Network, and welcome back to another Lumen Stock Car Invitational Series race, season number 4, race number 28, the season finale here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada. It needs no introduction. This is the first year where this track is hosting the finale, and it looks to be hosting the finale for the next season as well. Uh, and this track has definitely brought forth some of the LSCI's best racing. In Season 2, it had the closest finish in LSCI history until it was broken at Talladega this year. That was between teammates Lake and Herndon and Kobe Hollenbeck. And then back last season, when it was an early season race, Jack Gino and George Bryan had a battle for the win. That was pretty entertaining to watch. Even in the amateur series, Mercedes Washington got a win here with a last lap pass, but I'm talking a lot about the track because there's really not much to talk about in terms of the championship. Tim Berry's had it wrapped up for a couple weeks now. The Rookie of the Year is pretty well decided. Jake Sidney has wrapped that up as well. However, there is still stuff to play for McPicky Motorsports and Hudson Motorsports because the Owners Constructors Championship is very close between them after a drastic difference in performance between them last week at Darlington, with Hudson Motorsports getting all three cars in the top 8 and McPicky Motorsports struggling. I am here with Rashi Mahendra, who, ironically enough, called the very first race we had this season, which was at the Clash at Calder Park, and we brought him back for the season finale as well. And Rashia, of course, I'm going to be talking a lot about the owner or the champion constructors championship because that's really the main championship that's still up for grabs. If I am Hudson Motorsports, what is my best strategy to try and snatch this title away from McPicky Motorsports?
I mean, the best shot, I think, if you're talking about the Hudson cars, is just obviously to get as many good results, get all of your cars as far up the field as possible. I believe the gap is, what was it, about 12 points or something like that? So I believe on average, then you'll need to grab at least 4 points or so per as a collective over the how do I say this? Over the McVicky cars. And when it comes to McVicky, obviously the 11's been really good, but the rest of the teams, the rest of the cars on that team have been a little bit have experienced a bit of inconsistency on that front. I'll double check to see how the cars are starting here this time around. Obviously, Barry starting up front. You can see the 18 of Zach Dearman up there with them. So
everybody else that's involved in that battle is starting 23rd or worse. So it's going to be a big scrap to try and get to the front.
So it looks like it's all going to be about race progression for those two teams. Obviously, if you're the 11 and 18, you want to stay up there. But for everybody else involved in that Constructors' Championship battle, you're going to want to have as good of a car on race pace as much as possible, because you'll see this when we start going green at this track. The racetrack is fairly balanced, so there's not going to be there's not one real preferred lane here, I don't think. You can really make either lane work pretty well at this racetrack. So,
also another question: this another change from last season. This race is now an 84 lap race, which makes it longer than it was before. In season 1, it was 60 laps, and then it got increased to 67, and now, of course, adding 14 more laps onto the race. That's definitely going to change how the drivers approach it. What do you think we're going to be seeing differently in this race compared to last season, just based on the race length?
I mean, based on the race, I believe this will extend the race out to being a two-stopper, I would say. So that's going to be something else to look out for. Obviously, the potential of cautions, a lot of times, based on the times I've seen and called races at this track in other series, there's usually one or two cautions, especially maybe early on, that kind of throw things off a little bit, and maybe then we might start seeing different strategies come about as a result of that.
Yeah, let's go look at your starting lineup. Of course, the champion Tim Berry starting on pole in the season finale here at Las Vegas, looking to get one more win to cap off his record-breaking season. But alongside him, a very unexpected driver, Jami McJasma. The last time we saw her a couple of weeks ago, she finished third at Willow Springs, which of course was her best career finish. And now she's starting on the front row here at Las Vegas. And this is something that we saw last year as well. A lot of the part-time drivers, a lot of the development drivers were running very well in the season finale when the championship was out of reach. And some of the championship contenders maybe kind of sandbagging a little bit in that final race, just kind of riding around. Obviously, we see both Barry and Dearman up here, but I like to think of it more as because there's still a constructors battle going on. That's the reason why they're up here. But we might see a few drivers that we're not used to seeing up front here at Las Vegas running for the win today. Row number 2 is Zach Dearman in the 18 alongside the 77 of GT Boyd. Row 3 is the 50 of Jacob Lopez and the 41 of Karina Willis Calloway. Then it's Paula Sasiqua in the 32, the other part-time Pacific car. All 4 of the Pacific cars actually did make the race today, so this is the first time they've had 4 cars in the field. So an interesting note right there. Alongside the 32 is the 55 of Michael Harvin. Then we've got the number 24 car of Cooper Spur, starting inside the top 10. Alongside him is the 39 of Laken Herndon, who has won at this racetrack before. Then we have the 45 car of James Harvin and Adrian First in the 27, likely in her last race with NH Motorsports, still searching for that first career win. James Harvin also looking for his first career win in the Cup Series. Then we have Kate Summers in the 92 car alongside the 57 of Shauna Everett, still looking for that first win for the team Blake Everett Motorsports. And then the checkered flag racing cars make up row number 8. It's the 9 of Lori Jackson and the 13 of Damon Kirby. Then we got a couple of part-time cars behind them. The 5 car driven by Cassidy Jones and the 08 driven by Nathan Buchanan, who's going to be fighting for the Amateur Series Championship here later tonight. And then we've got the 29 of JB Chanot and the 88 of Billy Smith. Vinny Scholes in the 62 alongside the 40 of Adrian Wheeler. Then it's the 58 of Joanna Clark and the 81 of Jack Gino. George Bryan in the 3 and the 6 of Holly Martin. And then all of the Walker Brothers racing cars, Kevin DuPont, Charlie McCarran, and Darren Walker starting here in the back alongside LaTanya Gray, who's driving the 2 car this week to end off the season. Then it's the 19 of Jake Sidney and the 66 of Tyler Landry. The 99 of Akira Tajima, and the 16 of Corbin Taps, who has had a free fall as of late, and that has partially been why the constructors' battle has been so close, because both him and Holly Martin have really had some bad results as of late. And then behind them is the 79 of Kobe Hollenbeck, who will be rounding out the field today. There were 4 D&Qs in this race, those being the 70 of Andrew Kreider, the 65 of Tamron Bellinger, the 52 of Ashley Blake, and the 42 of Lulu Connie. Again, 84 laps today, expecting 2 stops, but if a caution falls at the right time, we could end up with a 3-stopper. And these cars are going to be pretty packed up throughout this race as well. It almost kind of races like New Atlanta in a way, which is funny because that means it races more like New Atlanta than New Atlanta actually has this season in LSCI. So that'll make things very interesting here for the season finale. And of course, no Drivers' Championship on the line, none of that. There is still the Constructors' Championship that's up for grabs, but other than that, we're pretty much out here to have fun, and this is a pretty good track for that to occur at.
Yeah, if you're looking for pure.
Sorry, I wanted to point out your audio was cutting out a lot in the pre-race, like a lot. Like there's points, there's points where it's perfectly smooth, and then sometimes it just goes like and it sometimes it cuts
weird.
It sometimes cuts out for several. It's sometimes cut out for several seconds at a time, so
that's weird.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've changed another setting. I wonder if that helps.
All right. Well, I hope it does. Okay. I wonder if we're gonna get the server clip. We didn't get it in any of the ones I actually did in the server. It'd be pretty funny if we ended up getting it in this one.
Connection just like randomly spiked up for no reason there, but I think that was just a server moment.
Start your engines. engines.
It wasn't server, but I'm gonna re-get that because you talked over it.
Drivers, start your engines.
And the field will roll off the back straightaway here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The 12 has a mechanic.
Never mind. Never mind.
Actually, I think that might have been from the last attempt. But
Yeah, that might have been from the last start.
okay, now your audio is really quiet and really like low quality.
Wait, really?
Yeah, really, like really muffled.
What the fuck? I'm not change. I didn't change anything there. Hang on. Okay, now does it sound fine now?
No, it still sounds the same.
Fuck. Hang on. Hang on. Let me reconnect. All right. I think something on Discord messed up there.
It's better now.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think
All right.
Discord switched one of my inputs or some shit.
Yeah, it just does that sometimes. Okay, temp number 3. 3 for Dale.
Drivers, start your engines.
And the field will roll off the backstretch here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And that was from last time. Russia, who do you think is going to win the race today?
Well, good cars tend to stay good here at Las Vegas, so more often than not, I feel like it is safe to go with a car that's starting somewhere inside the top 10. So why don't we go with the number 55 car of Michael Harvin? That seems like a, yep, that seems like a decent pick to go with. Just kind of going off the top of my top of my head here.
Harvin starting in P7, still looking for his first career win. Almost won at Willow Springs, but ran out of gas on the final lap. But it's going to be Tim Berry and Johnny McJasmine leading to the green, and we are underway here at Las Vegas.
Good jump by Berry, well clear ahead of the field into turn 1.
Zach Dearman and Johnny McJasmine now in a scrap for second place. Dearman looks like he might get the spot, but Karina Willis-Callaway also looking. Never mind, Michael Harvin is going to try and send it 3 wide on the first lap. Dearman is up the track. I don't like the looks of this, but it looks like they're going to escape trouble here in the first lap, and Tim Berry is well clear of everybody else, as they're all just bottled up here while racing for second, heading into lap number 2.
Yeah, for a second, it looked like the 39 was going to try to send it 4 wide out of 4, which would have been almost certainly would have led to some form of catastrophe. So that was a close shave there, I think.
Yeah, you definitely got to be careful, especially on the start of these races when they're all bunched up like this, especially off of turn 4. You'll oftentimes see early accidents happen in that area of the racetrack. Thankfully, none of that so far, but there's definitely still time for that to happen. And if that does happen, that really does mess with the fuel window. So, but the top 3, top 4, it looks like, have pulled out ahead single file. Karina Willis-Callaway in second, right behind Tim Berry. Jacob Lopez, Zach Dearman, and then it's Laken Herndon who's going to take over the 5th position here. And the single file line continues to grow as Shauna Everett and Adrian Fearson have broken into the top 10. Good runs for both of them. but still lots of action going on throughout the pack, and this is something that we're going to see all throughout the race, Russia.
Yeah, McJazz put a drop big time on that, struggling to get any kind of grip there. Fell outside the top 10 already. I think running 13th or so, fighting for 12th here.
And we got a race for the lead. Karina Willis-Callaway led that last lap. She's got all the momentum down on the inside lane, and now Barry's going to go up the track as Jacob Lopez sends it 3 wide, and the 41 car is going to be clear of the lead. One of our big overachievers this season, Karina Willis-Callaway, given the equipment she's in, to be top 15 in points at this stage in the final race of the season. Very impressive, but you know that she's also going to be going for that first win in what seems like forever. Has not won since Daytona in season 1. This is a pretty good opportunity for her to do it if she's got the long run car under her. Jacob Lopez, though, up to second. He's been gaining quite a few spots since the start of the race, and he's going to try and extend his all-time wins mark. But Tim Berry is challenging him from behind as Dearman and Herndon race each other for 4th. JT Boyd also looking for his first win of the season. He just got into Dearman, but they save it down the front straightaway. That was almost disaster for the 18, and he would have gotten turned in front of the entire field.
That could have been the big one right there, with the pack still looking at least 2x2 for most of the top 20. Three wide in parts of the field there, back in the midfield.
Yeah, they're a lot more grouped up back here. They're starting to spread out a little bit towards the top. Let's check in on some of our McPicky and Hudson cars. Tyler Landry's been gaining some spots, but looks like the 6 and the 16 are pretty stalled out. Sydney and Gino have not been able to make much progress either, so the Constructors' battle is definitely leaning in McPicky's favor as of right now, but we're going to have to see how that develops throughout the race. And for the race lead, Jacob Lopez tried to look under Karina Willis-Callaway, but Karina was able to clear him going into turn 3, but he's mounting a charge off of turn 4, and they're going to be side by side down the backstretch on lap number 8.
Side by side here, Lopez trying to use that inside line. There he's going to try to tuck in ahead of Herndon in the 39.
Oh, he slipped
Still
up.
Going to be side by side. Yeah, still side by side. You can tell just how equal the lines are here. The 41 definitely used the outside line to advantage on exit, but the 50s was able to stick by her for most of the way. But here comes the 11 coming back to take second.
Yeah, he had a bobble there in the middle of turn 2, and that completely killed his momentum, and you can see the difference it made. The 41 way out in front of him, and now he's got the 11 of Tim Berry on his inside. If you can really make the outside work in turn 2, you can get a massive run all the way down the backstretch and gain tons of time. Lopez trying to do that here this lap, but not quite able to. Herndon looking underneath Berry for 3rd, but Berry's going to shut the door on him. Some great racing up here near the front of the pack. And it looks like McJasmine is back inside the top 10, now battling Fearson for 9th. Further on back, we still have a little bit, or we don't have any 3 wide anymore. It looked like we did for a moment, but we've strung out a little bit, so we're kind of past the point where that early crash is kind of not as much of a threat. It still could happen, but it's less of a guarantee now that they were able to get out of the most chaotic part.
Yeah, usually you need to go at least 3 wide for something like that to happen, and it looks like the team is running single file now, so... Speaking of...
Not for second, though.
Here we go.
Not for second. Jacob Lopez trying to run the outside. Tim Berry in the middle. Herndon down low. JT Boyd trying to go up to help Jacob Lopez, and that's going to be the difference. Lopez will get into second. Berry 3rd. JT Boyd trying to make something happen here on the outside. It's been a bit for JT Boyd. He won the season opening race in Season 3, but that is his and his team NH Motorsports' only win up to this point. Definitely looking to cap off this season, which has been a bit of a sophomore slump for him, with a victory here in Vegas. Lopez is drafted back up to the back of Karina Willis-Callaway, so we might see him try and make a move here in the next few laps. Still not too far into this run. Lopez is able to get really good runs on the bottom off of turn 4. That's something that I've been noticing from this 50 car. Gets down on the apron there, trying to get past Karina Willis-Callaway for the lead. Will we see the 41 get that run off of turn 2 again? It looks like we probably will. And she's got that momentum down the back straightaway. She'll hang on to the lead.
Yeah, the 50 strength on the inside is keeping Lopez in the hunt for that lead, but the 41's been able to the outside left form of defense. But here comes the 50 again. You can see just how much stronger the 50 is in 3 and 4.
Yeah, the advantages are definitely flipped here between these two. Karina Willis-Callaway is a lot better in turns 1 and 2. The 50's been having trouble kind of arcing the corner on the bottom in those corners, but the 50 has been excellent in 3 and 4. Here we see it again. Karina's able to get the outside to work off of turn 2, but Jacob Lopez usually finds the run off of turn 4, although he didn't quite get one that time.
Yeah.
Not much position change up here in the top 10, but interesting battle going on up front.
Yeah, I do think the battles here at Vegas tend to be slow burning, more so than other intermediate tracks because of the way the lanes work, and it does kind of tend to favor the defensive over the offensive, especially in this kind of intermediate stage of a run.
Blake and Herndon trying to roll the outside in 3 and 4 here to get past Tim Berry, and it looks like he might be able to do it. Great pass for the 39. That'll move him up to third. They're side by side for the lead once again as the 50 gets underneath the 41. What's Lake and Herndon going to do in this situation? He's going to stay behind the 50, and the 41 clears the 50 once again through turn 2. Lopez just can't get the bottom to work in that corner, and he's struggling to get past the 41 car.
Maybe we'll see if he tries to flip the script a bit and maybe try to force the 41 to the inside. That might be something he could try to do.
Yeah, he could try running the outside in turn 2, kind of getting the draft off of her, and maybe try to draft down the backstretch. That could be something that could be at his disposal here. He hasn't quite tried that yet. And now the 39 is putting on the pressure. Lake and Herndon has won in every season of LSCI, but he is winless through 27 races here so far. Trying to keep that win streak going by getting a late win here would be great for him, but he's now under pressure from Tim Berry. We're seeing Herndon peek to the inside once again here in turn number 2. That was a better turn 2 than he's been having, but I think the 41's still going to clear by the time they get to turn 3. Crossover down the back straightaway for Herndon, and he was able to stick the nose underneath of the 50 of Lopez. If he can make this move stick, that'll be one of the more impressive passes that we've seen up here. Lake and Herndon is moving his way through the field. He's definitely got one of the fastest cars out here today.
Yeah, 39 looks very strong at this point right now. Watch the 50 working that outside line again.
He can make that outside work in 2. So I'm wondering now that he's
now back in second.
Now that he's found that speed up there on the outside, maybe he might try that move on the 41, but the problem is the 41's just going to keep taking his line away there. So he'll have to really execute it better than her.
He's following the 41 in this time. Let's see what he does here.
Getting the draft through turn 2. He's going to peak low down the backstretch. 41 did not take that run on the outside. Will Karina be able to fend him off here through 3 and 4? It's going to be close, but I think the 50's still there. No, the 41 still clears him. What a drive by Karina.
Yeah. 50's getting there, but the 41 still just has enough.
And Herndon still stalking them from behind. Shout out to Darren Walker, by the way, and Tyler Landry, who both made their way from the back of the field. And how about LaTonya Gray in the 2 car? She's not in the top 15 quite yet, but she's running in 17th. She's gained quite a few spots from where she started. Jack Gino is starting to climb up through the field, and again, that's important for the constructors' standings, because I believe, Holly Martin and Corbin Taps are still struggling. Jake Sidney's not doing a whole lot better, but he is running better than the 16 and the 6, so that should help. I think Jack Gino might be the key piece there, as well as getting the 18 ahead of the 11 in terms of that battle, as Barry runs in 4th and Dearman runs in 6th. JT Boyd working on Barry for P4. And a battle.
The 11's fallen back from the top 3. It is now under threat from the 77 instead.
Michael Harvin, Shauna Everett, and Jamie McJasmine. An interesting battle here for 7th. All three of these drivers have struggled. And of course, one of them is a part-time driver. Darren Walker just tried to take a shot. Didn't quite have the grip to do it. And we're going to be seeing pit stops here very soon in about 5 laps. That's going to be our first round of pit stops. We've been green the whole way so far, lap 25 of 84. Rasha, when do you think you want to pit? Do you want to pit early or do you want to pit late at this track?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't really have a preference too much. I feel like pitting early is usually the safest way to go. That seems to be what cars at the front tend to do anyways, to stay up front. And I feel like if you're Karina, that's probably going to be the way you'd want things to go. You'd want to take it fairly early. But with a potential of a two-stop race in the horizon, that does add an extra dimension to things. So I feel like maybe taking that late run, taking that pit stop late for this first time and trying to get a really solid middle run, that could also really make things work, I think.
Lopez peeking underneath the 41, but still not enough to get underneath. And I do want to mention, last race at Darlington, we had this pretty much same scenario. Jack Gino ended up playing the strategy game perfectly. He ended up pitting late the first time to get the tires, and then he managed to catch up to the leaders and pass them, and then he pitted early on the second run. So I'm wondering if we're going to see someone try and do that strategy, as now Lopez is looking underneath Karina Willis-Callaway. This might be his best shot yet to get fire. She slipped up the track a little bit in turn 4. Side by side to the line. Still the 41 at the line. I think if Karina can stay on the outside up to this point, she might have the run off the corner. Lakin Herndon is going to help the fellow Toyota up there. They're still side by side down the back.
39 swung that battle for the 41 a little. Good manufacturer work on those two, for those two Toyotas, I think.
And the Toyotas have struggled this season. Only 3 wins for the entire manufacturer. 2 of them with Akiya Tajima and 1 with Kate Summers. So getting Toyota one last win here before the season's over would definitely help them. But here comes the 50. He's going to try and use the outside while the 41's down low. 41's going to try and slide up and block. Will the 50 try the crossover? He will. Down to the inside. Well, again, we got to watch for when these cars are going to pit, because I imagine leaders are going to be coming in any moment now. They're not going to pit on lap 29 as they are continued to be in a battle for the lead here. The 39 is now helping the 50 of Lopez down here. I thought he was going to try and peek it 3 wide for a moment there. He's been threatening to do that multiple times this race, but he hasn't actually gone through with it.
Making up ground through the middle of the corner there. Really good work using that outside again to hang on to the lead. And somehow the 41 hangs on.
She's put on a masterclass of defensive driving, and Lopez 50. Just said, if I can't beat you on the track, I'm going to try and beat you into the pits. And Lopez is going to come in. His teammate Michael Harvin also comes in. And it looks like they're the only 2 to come in early here on lap number 31. Interesting strategy here for Motor Racing Ventures. Going to try and undercut the leaders. We'll see if this works out for them.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see them. Hopefully things are going to be really close between the 2. We'll see if the 41 responds here or whether or not.
Yes, she will.
41 comes in.
39 stays out. But it looks like a majority of the leaders. A majority of the leaders are coming in this time, although, of course, we do have a couple other cars playing the overcut strat here. Be interesting to see which one ends up
our 3 leaders are coming in at 3 different laps then, which is really make things interesting.
Yeah, that'll make things very interesting indeed, because, you know, we've got the 3 strategies represented in the top 3 here. If they remain the top 3 after all of this, because, you know, it could shuffle things up enough to where that is no longer the case. And here comes everybody else on lap 32. Interesting to note, Jack Gino is one of the cars, as well as Tyler Landry. They are 2 of the cars that took this overcut. So again, something to watch here as the race goes on. And Karina Willis-Callaway absolutely beat the 11 off the pit lane here, but the 50 is going to get out ahead of the 41. And Lopez is going to get away with the race lead.
Yeah, early signs point to the 50 taking the getting the most advantage out of this, but of course we saw what happened in Darlington. This might very well be the same situation, but the 41 was able to stay on to the. Ooh, that's a slow stop for the 39.
Did he get hit going into the pits? He's still in there. 28 seconds, and that is going to take Lakin Herndon out of the running. He might have collided with somebody in the pits. I thought I saw damage on the right side of the car. Actually, the damage is on the left side of the car. So, yeah, he ran into somebody going into the pit lane, and that is going to take him out of contention. That's a shame for Lakin Herndon. He looked like he had a very fast car. He would have had a shot to win this race, but not anymore.
We're down to 2 of those top 3 now. Nobody really representing the overcut strategy in the top 5, I don't think.
Michael Harvin is now
Jack
up to
Gino,
3rd. Tim Berry in 4th. And then a battle for 5th between Darren Walker, who started back in 29th, and JT Boyd in the 77. Landry is in the top 10 now. Latanya Gray is fighting for a top 10 spot. She's in 10th right now. Cooper Spur up here as well. Impressive run from the 2 car.
Crucially, Landry has a few cars between him and Jack Gino in the 18, so.
And Zach Dearman has completely disappeared.
Yeah,
he's all the way back
down
here in 19th. So I think if Tim Berry continues to hold his ground, Tim Berry and Tyler Landry continue to hold their ground, then they're going to be able to fend off any...
And notice that the 18 is racing the 16 as well, so looks like Hudson Motorsports made a complete hash of that pit cycle.
Jake Sidney gained quite a few spots, though. He's in the top 15. So, yeah, the 16 fighting the 18 right now, and the 6 is well off behind these cars. In 27th, Jamie McJasmine lost a lot of spots in that pit cycle. And Lakin Herndon's all the way back to 32nd. Rough race for Nathan Buchanan in the 08 car, who's, of course, going to be racing full-time for Patriot Racing Incorporated next season. But here we are, and I believe we're missing a car. Oh, James Harvin has blown up. So the last race of his rookie campaign is going to end with a mechanical failure. And that's a Motor Racing Ventures car, so...
Yeah.
Jacob Lopez and Michael Harvin might be getting a little concerned, might be getting a little bit antsy after hearing that, but I tell you what, this 50 is out of here. He's got a 2.1 second lead.
The pace on that 50 is well ahead of the 41 right now. Pulled off a few tenths on that lap alone.
Yeah, he opened up about 5 tenths over when they came out of the pit lane, and the 55's also trying to run her down. Karina was faster last lap, though. Maybe once those tires kick in, she'll be a little bit faster as the run goes on.
Yeah, helps that the 55 also running.
Yeah, she's got a little bit of draft, while Lopez doesn't have any. There's not even any lap cars ahead of him for him to draft off of, so... But yeah, Zach Dearman, this is very uncharacteristic of him, falling back to 21st. He's usually the best driver at finishing off races and getting the best result he can, so something must have really went wrong on the pit cycle there for Dearman to end up back there.
Well, at the very least, there's at least one more pit cycle for the 18 to get things right, so things aren't set in stone just yet.
Definitely not. Michael Harvin going to try and get past the 41. These two are catching up to Jacob Lopez now that they've kind of gotten into each other's draft. Although not gaining that much in comparison.
Yeah, only a few hundredths that time.
We do have a pack forming right here. Notably, Jack Gino on the very end of it. And also notably, he is on the overcut strategy, as well as Tyler Landry, who is up in front of him. So again, keeping an eye on those McPicky and Hudson cars and where they're running. 1.6 seconds.
Big gain.
Yeah, there's 2 tenths. Yeah, I think if the 41 and 55 keep running together like this, they will eventually catch up to Jacob Lopez, and this will turn into a 3-car battle.
Once again, yeah. Doesn't look like the 55 has that much to attack the 41 with, so think he's just gonna run behind her for now.
Yeah, that would be his best strategy. He can use the draft off of the 41. Again, they're going to be going faster than Lopez if they work together here. And that's just kind of what the 55 is doing, although it could also be just the 41 having the better tires. But the 55 and 50, keep in mind, they're on the same strategy. They both took the undercut. They were the only two to take the undercut. So those two have the oldest tires in the field. But I think
Yeah, those
Harvin
two are
is
gonna
being
have.
helped out by the draft off that 41 car.
Yeah, I was gonna say Harvin's in a bit of a disadvantageous situation here. If anything, he'll eventually lose ground to the 41
This
without the
41
draft taking.
car This 41 car has been gaining multiple tenths a lap, so this is going to turn into a battle for the lead here very shortly. Tim Berry's also trying to keep up with these guys to keep himself in this lead battle. And then we have the three-way battle for fifth that's been going on ever since the pit cycles began. Right now, JT Boyd winning that battle. Landry and Darren Walker side by side behind them. Shauna Everett having a good run here in the 57. She's been in the top 10 all day. Same for Cooper Spur in the 24. Again, two drivers that you don't see at the front very often, but they've both been having very good runs here today. And again, I got to shout out Latanya Gray running in 11th right now in that same group with the 57 and the 24.
Got the 8. That might be another car to look out for, given that that's a car that came in the latest out of everyone, so will have the best tires out of the field. I'm pretty sure that car is the first onset strategy.
41 is now within half a second.
Yeah, it took out half a second in a few laps right there, so.
Barry is also closing in on Lopez, yeah. He was at 2.3 and now it's 1.8. He gained half a second, so I think those tires
50s draft now.
Those tires are going away on the 50 car, and the 41 is now in his draft. So again, this is going to be an interesting battle because throughout the first run, we saw the 41 ahead of the 50, and the 50 struggled to get past her. And now the tables have kind of turned. We'll see if Karina Willis-Callaway is going to be able to get past Jacob Lopez. Maybe Lopez starts using the tactics that Karina used on him. And now Karina's going to have to try and find a way to essentially do what Jacob Lopez couldn't.
Yeah, I would think Lopez was paying attention to the kind of moves that Karina was using to stay ahead in that first run. So he was likely to see.
Harvin got a big run through 1 and 2. He wasn't able to make a move on the 41, at least not yet, but he got right up to the back bumper. Oh, the 41 slid up the track a little bit in turn 4. Harvin is looking for the opportunity to get underneath her, but again, she stands firm here. And it has been very hard to pass this 41 car.
Yeah, this is about as good of a chance to get past now that the 41 is stuck behind the 50's dirty air, so if the 55 is going to make a move, it might as well be now.
Yeah, especially to also kind of prevent her from getting past his teammate here. If we want to play the team game here comes the run out of turn 4. That's something that the 50's gotten against the 41 multiple times, but wasn't able to take advantage. Karina Willis-Callaway still looking to the inside, still peeking down there. There isn't really a lane for her to go there. Lopez taking the bottom lane away from the 41 of Karina Willis-Callaway, but if I'm Karina, I definitely need to try and run the top at least once, because you know how effectively she was using it in defense last time by. So if I see him going bottom, I'd just go in the lane that he's not in, especially if he's leaving the top lane.
Here because you gotta be careful because of the 55 sitting behind her, because if he takes the top 2 early, that'll leave room for the 55 to dive in on the inside and potentially take a spot away that way.
Not a good corner there for Karina Willis-Callaway. Didn't arc it very well, and Jacob Lopez is going to pull away a little bit more. That'll bring the 55 back into it. The 11's closing in on all 3 of them.
Within a second of the lead this time. So that's 4 cars within this little gap here.
Yeah, they're all packed together now, all under a blanket. Tyler Landry now up into 5th. Boyd and Walker are now fighting each other for 6th.
Gino, I think Jack Gino is falling backwards.
Gino is now in 14th, I believe. He's gotten passed by the 79 and the 40. 79, by the way, Kobe Hollenbeck, shout out to him. He started in dead last, and he's up
Dead
to
last,
12th.
yeah.
Columbia Motorsports has been having a solid outing here today. Here we go. These three all under a blanket here, and we have another cycle of pit stops approaching. Michael Harvin's going to use the outside maybe. He didn't quite commit to it, though. Staying behind the 41, probably because he's going to try and make a move on the backstretch on the inside lane. Here comes Harvin, trying to get past the 41. It looks like the 41's going to clear him, though. He wasn't quite able to get that corner speed that he wanted. But the 41's going to peek to the inside of the 50. She's going to go all the way down on the apron. And they're going to be side by side going into turn 1.
We'll see how strong the 41 is on corner entry this time. Not that strong. Didn't get close to the 50 that time. 50 was able to close the door well before the exit of turn 2.
She stayed with him pretty good down the back, though. She didn't quite lose as much time on exit as I thought she was going to. But again, this is
55 is under threat from the 11.
Yeah, Barry's trying to get by Michael Harvin here. And they're going to go side by side. That's going to help out the front, too. Ooh, is Karina going to try the outside? It looked like she might have thought about it, but she stays behind the 50, trying to get a run down the back and maybe make a move into turn 3. Wasn't able to get quite enough momentum, though, but she's right on the back bumper of Jacob Lopez here. She's been getting great exits off of turn 4. If she gets another one here, this could be a good opportunity for her. Didn't quite happen there. This is a very tactical game here to see how to get past this 50 car. But how much of a priority is getting past the 50 car at this point over just having a really good pit strategy / pit stop in this second half? Because this is going to be the money stop here. How much would it matter if you're in the lead going into the pit lane?
Good question. I mean, we see how important track position is. So maybe that undercut might be a lot more
she's staying with him. She's staying with him off of turn 2. Wasn't quite able to stay under him, though. That was not a bad exit off the corner. Again, it's just that top groove off of turn 2 is so powerful. It's really hard to kind of get past. And again, this is the same. This is pretty much the same battle that we saw earlier with the 51 and the 40, except the spots were reversed. And they're going to be side by side into turn 1 again. Karina's got to get this inside lane rolling. But it's not going to happen here.
Early that time.
And the pit cycle is going to start here very soon. Michael Harvin looking underneath the 41, and this time he might be able to stay underneath the 41, but he checks up in the middle of the corner. And Karina will stay in second. When will we see the first cars pit now? This is going to be the money stop here. Maybe we see some of these drivers towards the back pit extra early. I think you can make it from here on fuel. Only about 25 laps to go, so if someone wanted to try an extreme undercut, they could. But here come the leaders. None of them coming in this time by. They're still in a battle with each other. And that is the same throughout the rest of the field. 41 tried to look on the outside there. Didn't quite get it going. Stayed back down there on the bottom. These four really have not been able to pass each other that much. It's been big defensive driving here. And are we going to see the Motor Racing Ventures cars come in now? Yes, we will. Here they come. Sticking with that undercut strategy. It worked for them in the first run. Why not? Go for it a second time. So Lopez is in now. I would not be surprised if the 41 comes in next time along with the 11 car. And we'll see what Tyler Landry ends up doing in all of this, because he's pretty close to the leaders now. Maybe he tries to come in with them. No, he's going to stay out as well. So he's staying on that overcut strategy. Oh, Charlie McCarron was really late getting into the pit lane. Not sure if that's going to be a penalty or not. I don't know if she made the commitment cone or not, but we're going to have to keep an eye on that 85 car. to see if she got a penalty. Coming out of the pit lane, the 50 and 55 pretty close to each other, so they should still both be in contention for this win. Here comes everyone else coming into the pits. The 81, 62, 1, 8, 29, and 66, all on the most overcut strategy. Doesn't look like the 85 got a penalty, so looks like she'll be in the clear on that. And again, another great pit stop from Karina Willis-Callaway here.
Well ahead
But
of
she
the
will
11.
get passed by the 50 and the 55 on the racetrack. And the gap is pretty significant. Here comes our last group out of the pit lane. They're not going to be anywhere close to the lead, it appears. They're hoping to make up some of that ground on the track, but we've seen how valuable track position has been. And now there's also going to be a lapped car between the 55 and 50 and the 41, unless Karina can take care of the 32 Paula Sisiqua here in turns 3 and 4, and it looks like she might be able to. Or maybe on exit of the corner? Definitely slowed her up a little bit. So now she's got this lap car to deal with. She could use the lap car to try and draft up to the top 2, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what she did with the 55 last time. So this time the two Motor Racing Venture cars are gonna appear crucial.
Yeah, these two are going to be, to each other's benefit to kind of pull away from everybody else. But the 32 will slot in behind the 41. An advantage to the Motor Racing Ventures cars in the immediate aftermath of the cycle, but we saw the 41 start to close in after that. But again, that was when the 50 was isolated by himself. Now that he's got his teammate up there with him, will that advantage still exist for the 41 car? And look at this, Jake Sidney. What an incredible drive for him. He is now up to the 8th position. He's the highest running of the Hudson Motorsports cars. Jack Gino is currently running in 14th. And Zach Dearman is back in 22nd, crucially behind Corbin Taps. I don't know. I don't think at this point Motor Racing Ventures is going to be able to get enough points to surpass McPickey in the Constructors. The MRV cars are still pulling away from the 41 and the 32, so...
Both going 2 by 2 here.
Yeah, now the 32 is trying to pass the 41. They're going almost 3 wide off the corner behind them. Ooh, be careful. The 66 and 19 almost making contact. I don't know. I think at this point it's going to be between the two teammates here. And Motor Racing Ventures is known for being very good in the last few races of the season. They had 2 1-2 finishes in the last 3 races in Season 2. And it was these 2 drivers, Jacob Lopez and Michael Harvin, and we see them linked up here again. Something about the late season races, these 2 drivers in particular seem to be excellent at them.
Yeah, I think though I think the team has kind of perfected the strategy this time. They've given the 58 a teammate at least to pair up with, so he doesn't get stranded. This kind of long run scenario, drafting wise, and I don't know if the tire advantage that the 41 has will be enough to counteract that.
Yeah, I mean, she's being raced by the 32 car. She might get passed by the 32 car here, and then she'll end up in this pack right here. I'd say this pack might make things interesting, but I don't know how much.
This is a big pack.
I don't know how much they'll be able to catch those top 2 though, given that there's only 15 laps to go.
This is 2 cars versus what is 6 cars at least, so that's a lot of cars.
That's everyone
Problem is,
back
they're all
to
going to be trying to pass each other.
That's everyone back to 9th place, JB Chanot, and now Karina Willis-Callaway is being passed by Tim Barry, and here comes the conga line on the inside. Barry and Landry both going to work together, another pair of teammates. As Chevrolet attempts to take the top 4 spots in this race. Sydney, McCarran, Boyd, and Chanot are also in this pack.
That's crucially 2 McVitie cars sitting in front of the leading Hudson car.
Yeah, I think at this point, something would have to happen to the 11 and 66 in order for Hudson to get enough points, because again, the 81 is... I mean, the 81's recovered all right from his not so great starting spot, but the 18, I think, really wasted a good opportunity to get a lot of points. He's back to 22nd. And now Landry's going to try and pass the 11. These two are running faster than the front two, but I just don't think they have enough time to get involved in this battle.
Yeah, time's starting to run out, I think, now.
They barely gained that last time. Again, they're all fighting each other in this pack. There might be 8 of them, but, you know, really, they're all racing each other except for the 32 car.
Yeah, this is a big pack, but they're all kind of working the arrow against each other, as opposed to the 50 and 55, who are basically running in formation right now.
Yeah. The 55 has not even attempted to pass the 50 at this point.
We'll see
He
if
might
that
be...
changes, but right now, if the objective is to get away from the pack, then it's definitely working for these two.
Yeah, we might see Michael Harvin. I mean, he hasn't won a race this year. He's had a very rough season. We might see Michael Harvin trying to make a pass for the win on his teammate. And, you know, we've seen photo finishes between teammates at this track before. But, I mean, after what we saw in the second run, and even in the first run, it's proven very hard to pass for the lead here at Las Vegas. So, a lot harder than I kind of expected it would be for this racetrack. We usually see a lot more cycling for the lead at this racetrack, but back in...
You just need to be ahead at the line. So,
yeah, you only need to lead at the line, so if you can get alongside them and just edge them out at the end, that'll be enough.
The 50.
And Motor Racing Ventures knows that better than anyone, because it was their driver, Adrian Wheeler, that did that to Isabella Fitzmaurice of Talladega. This pack still has not gotten under 3 seconds. I don't think they're going to be very relevant in this finish, unless we get a late yellow.
Chance, but there's not much time left to catch.
And so the attention turns to the 50 and the 55. Will Michael Harvin be able to make a move on Jacob Lopez? And if so, when will he make it? 8 laps to go.
Karen's up to 4th now in that second pack. It's been a really good race for that 85.
Yeah, and it looked like that pit entry was going to be disastrous for her, but it might have actually helped her gain some spots over some of the cars around her.
That helped her.
Yeah. She's going to lose 4th to the 66 of Landry. And there you see Karina Willis-Callaway. As soon as she got into this pack, she got completely swallowed up and is dropping like a rock all the way back to 8th right now, battling for 8th with the 8 car of Darren Walker.
Yeah, the long run pace isn't there on the 41 this time. Look at the 55
hold on a
here.
second. Oh, I thought he was going to make an attempt there in turn 3 at the lead. He got right up to the back bumper of his teammate. And that's proven to me that he is not content with just riding around behind Jacob Lopez. He's going to try and go for the win. I mean, it's been a long winless streak for him. You have to go back to Auto Club 2 years ago for Michael Harvin's last win. So you know he's going to want to do it here over his teammate. But it's kind of hard to generate the momentum you need if there's nobody back there kind of helping you. You kind of have to try and draft all by yourself.
You have to do everything by yourself here, timing the run and timing the place to kind of get a nose ahead of the leader.
Hold on a second.
Crucially, this second pack is now catching.
Yeah, because they single filed out at the front of this pack for the most part.
They've passed the 32 at the front of the pack.
If they can get in the draft of this 55, there's an outside chance they could insert themselves into this battle. I still think it's going to be between these two, but they've got a better chance than they did earlier, that's for sure. Although now the 85 and 66 battling each other might mess with things. They gained another 2/10, but again, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's enough.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be enough. They're gonna be like a second or so out, but I don't think they'll have enough time. We're really running out of laps here.
If they had gotten organized about 5 laps earlier, maybe they would have had a better chance here. Michael Harvin now looks like he's lagging back behind the 50 to try and get a bigger run on him down the straights.
Potentially one last gasp to take the lead here.
3 laps to go. Jacob Lopez looking for his second win of the season and extending his all-time win total to 7.
Either that or Lopez just turned on the afterburners a bit because he did pull ahead a 10th from the 11.
Big scrum for positions back here. But they're not going to catch these top 2. And Lopez is pulling away from Michael Harvin with 2 laps to go. I think his opportunity is up now. I think Lopez, as long as he can make it around one more lap, he's got this in the bag. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for the final time this season here at Las Vegas. Jacob Lopez, the all-time wins leader, trying to extend that all-time wins mark. Second place, his teammate Michael Harvin is fading in his rearview mirror. Charlie McCarron's fought her way up to 3rd. Where is Tim Berry gone?
No, completely gone.
Oh, he's down. He's slow on the bottom of the track. A suspension failure on the 11 on the final lap. Checkered flag here for the 50 of Jacob Lopez. He wins the race. Sydney also got past the 66, and the 81 got up to 9th.
What'll that do for the Constructors Championship?
Yeah,
that's a last-minute blow for McPicky.
Tim Berry had not had a mechanical failure all season long. Last year, what killed him in the championship was mechanical failures. Corbin Taps finished 20th, Holly Martin 24th, and Dearman finished 19th. So all of those head-to-head battles went to Hudson.
Yeah. Now with that really shift things up now. I'm not sure what the Constructors Championship's going to look like here.
I think I feel like it's still going to go to McPicky. Barry's going to finish 32nd. I feel like it's still going to go to them, but it's going to be very close.
Yeah. I think it went from a secure McPicky win to very close, but
we're going to have to look at the points basically.
Yeah.
But a dramatic end of the season there. I mean, he wasn't in the lead, but he was in 3rd, and again, the 11 team has been absolutely flawless all season, obviously having secured the championship 2 weeks ago. But one mistake right at the very end of the race. My goodness. I'm going to be very curious to see what that does to the constructors' standings, because the Hudson cars, they all combined, they finished. The only McPicky car that all 3 of them didn't beat was Landry, who finished in 6th. And even then, Sydney still finished ahead of Landry too, and Gina was not far behind, so I don't know. That's going to be really close.
Held on to this. It's going to be down to Landry's performance, because that was a really good race by the 66 to get himself up there. And if Hudson get up there, win it out at the end, that's going to be a really good performance by Sydney, because a top 5 from back of the field at this track is not exactly the easiest thing to do, from what I remember.
Absolutely not. But the real winner today, Jacob Lopez, getting his second win of the season, 3rd for Motor Racing Ventures for that team this season. Adrian Wheeler getting the other one. Michael Harvin locks down a 1-2 for them. Charlie McCarron ends up finishing in 3rd. And it's going to be another winless season for McCarron, unfortunately, but she definitely had a good year. So, all things considered, not too much to be upset about. But you got to think it's going to be win or bust next year for McCarron. Jake Sidney in fourth. Again, a great rally from him and Darren Walker. And you know what? This entire group between third through sixth started pretty deep in the field, like 28th on back. So all four of them definitely had really fast race cars. I would have been really interested to see maybe this race go about 10 more laps and see which one of them would have been able to get the win if they would have been able to take the lead away from Lopez and Harvin. That would have been a very interesting battle. JB Chanel gets a top 10 end out the year. Shauna Everett ran top 10 the entire race, ends up getting an 8th place finish. So a great run for the Blake Everett Motorsports driver. Again, Jack Gino with a good run. He ends up in 9th. Karina Willis Calloway, 10th. Of course, she was running top 2 most of the race and just kind of faded on the last run, but still a good season and a good run for Karina Willis Calloway. How about Latanya Gray getting a top 15? Vinny Scholl's getting a top 15. It's been a rough couple of months for Vinny Scholl, so that's a good run for her. Same with Cooper Spur. And yeah, we see the rest of your results here, and we're going to have to see how the constructors' standings look, because if McPicky won, it's definitely, I think, safe to say that they won by single-digit points. And that's very interesting considering how McPicky dominated the drivers' standings, but the overall lineup of Hudson Motorsports maybe just a little bit better than them. So again, we'll have to see how that plays out. And that's going to make things very interesting. And I know we focused a lot of the constructors in here just because it's really the only championship that was still going on. But great day today for the Motor Racing Ventures teammates here. Of course, they also finished last, so they bookended the field, so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, that's going to do it for the season here today. A bit of a different season than seasons past, Rasha. We had, a pretty competitive championship battle in the first 3 seasons, but this one was really just Tim Berry's from the start.
Yeah, I think Tim Berry was pretty much on another level this season, at least from the races I called in if the points races I called, I should say, Berry ran particularly well in those ones. We saw him at Watkins Glen. I remember seeing him struggle for most of the race, and then I believe he not nabbed, I think, either a top 10 or an 11th place finish right at death anyways. And that was kind of just the story of the season for the 11 team, just being able to produce results out of any sort of day, basically. And that's the kind of thing that gets you a championship as dominant as this one, basically.
Yeah, and Berry didn't really lead that many laps this season. I think the last time I checked, I can check right now, he really wasn't in first for very long. He only led 42 laps this season. I mean, that's not an insignificant amount, but like you'd expect for someone that finished inside the top 10 17 times, that he would have led maybe in the hundreds, like Jake Sidney, Jack Gino, Darren Walker, Jacob Lopez, I believe Corbin Taps. They all led triple-digit laps, but Tim Berry's mantra this season was deadly consistent. He started the season with 7 straight top 10s, and from there nobody could catch him. So he was able to just kind of carry that momentum that he had, especially at the very start of the year, into a pretty easy championship. But I don't think it's gonna. Not all the championships are gonna be that easy. I can tell you, next season, I mean, we're gonna have a lot of different drivers that are gonna try and go after him. Of course, his teammate Tyler Landry, maybe the most immediate threat to him. You've got Jake Sidney up there. Jack Gino is always going to be a threat. We have lots of good drivers here in LSCI. I mean, I think if Columbia Motorsports can get a little bit better, Lake and Herndon could definitely be in the conversation as well, and maybe even a Kia Tajima. But thank you guys for watching this race and any of the races all throughout the season. I really do appreciate it. And signing off for the final time here in 2025, on behalf of Rashi Mahendra, this is Brennan Wilmington from the Left Turn Network signing out. Here are your final point standings for the 2025 season, which will be on your screen right now.